I don't want to leave this so that the next job is the same situation. Like I don't want to leave it undone and go into the same thing.
If you leave a place because you don't like it, the next place won't be any better. The most important thing to remember in this process of creating is that out of the knowing what I don't want comes the awareness of what I do want. And that is everything. That's your reason for coming forth. That's your reason for exposing yourself to contrast. In other words, something is not created out of nothing. It's the focus that brings everything together. In a situation where the contrast has launched lots and lots and lots and lots of rockets of desires, there is a point that the vortex calls you in a really strong way. So the answer to this dilemma is simply this: when you leave a place because you don't like it, it's an entirely different vibrational stance than when you go to a place because it is calling you. Even though from outside appearances it looks the same, you're not there anymore, you're somewhere else. But vibrationally speaking, it's a very big difference. The motivation, I'm going to leave here because I can't stand this anymore. The next experience is going to be full of the same stuff you don't want. But if the new place is calling you, so you're going because you're going toward what feels good, not leaving what feels bad, it's a huge, huge difference. Can you feel the difference? There's a difference between an inspired calling and I can't stand it here anymore, moving away from something. And that's huge. That's a huge distinction. So that's why we say, don't let the one who's not in the vortex call the shots. And we're talking about if you're the only one involved. In other words, don't make your decisions from outside the vortex.
Not even me.
Make your decisions from inside the vortex. And so I don't want to leave because I'm unhappy here. You're right. The win factor, that's not the time to leave, because you're leaving from a vibrational stance that's not going to yield to you something better. But it's all part of it, isn't it? Because without knowing what you don't want, you couldn't know what you do want. Just make sure that you're more in alignment with what you do want before you actually take the action of going, and then it will be smooth sailing for you when you go. Are you saying you feel insecure and not really ready to contribute, but you don't feel like you're really ready?
To be a part of, I want to be moving this forward.
Never feel like you need to be all things to the creation. The only thing that you need to ever be is a cooperative component. To be a creator of anything, you're not the means to all the ends. You're not the answer to all the questions. You're not the one who does it all. All you want to be is a cooperative enough component that you can get into the vortex where the law of attraction will spin the cooperation between all of the other components. Did you hear that? In other words, it doesn't matter what you're creating, what empire or what agency or what physical environment you're creating. There are more components than we can even put numbers to that have already been assembled. And what's present in your vibration that is pointed out by this conversation is that you have this, and you're not alone in this. A lot of people do. Esther is still shedding layers of this, even with all that she has heard from us. There is this wanting to prove my value and my worthiness by being all things to all people that is irrational. It's irrational. It's not, you didn't say, I'll go forth and I'll figure it all out. You said, I'll go forth and I'll be inspired to ideas that will mesh with other ideas, and together we will have a wonderful cooperative experience in co-creation. We just want you to be the cooperative component to the solutions that are already there for you. Can you feel that? And that's why the knot in your stomach comes, not because you're inadequate, but because you're deliberately holding yourself out of the vortex where all of the answers and inspiration are. This gotta do it, gotta learn it, gotta know it, gotta be it, gotta be all things, gotta be more. No, you just gotta get in the vortex and then you'll be more.
Okay, I get it.
Hear the difference?
What would quitting look like for someone in the vortex? Let's say you did raise your vibration. Would you just know intuitively that now I'm enjoying myself at work, it's fine, and have fun at 50?
If you, from your unhappiness, quit, then there's temporary poverty sets in. In other words, because the dollars stop flowing. And that environment is usually not all that conducive to raising vibration, although you might feel freer in not having to put up with the unpleasant things that you've been putting up with. So usually things don't get much better. And after an interim of unemployment, there is usually the finding of another job that is pretty much at the vibrational level of the last one. Where if instead of quitting, you decide that you're going to raise your vibration, then one of two things happens. You raise your vibration to the point that something much more pleasing reveals itself to you. And so while you do quit, you quit not in the spirit of leaving something unwanted behind, but in the spirit of gravitating towards something wanted. Pretty obvious. Everyone would rather have a new, shiny opportunity, whether it's a job or a relationship waiting, than leave something unwanted and stand in that lackful interim hoping for something else. What most people don't understand, that we understand so fully, is that the potential for something wonderful right where you stand is huge if you can find a different frequency. What we really want you to consider is, are you letting what is control the level of your vibration, or are you choosing the level of your vibration by meditating or by deliberately releasing resistance, and then allowing the vortex which has trained your vibration to a higher frequency to evoke or to bring to it the details of life that match that? You can think your way through all of this, which usually just overwhelms you and leaves you coming to conclusions that are not accurate, or you can accept that you are a vibrational being, use your emotions to let you indicate as clear indicators of where you are vibrationally, make an intention to raise your vibration, which simply means release resistance, and as the vortex trains you into that higher frequency, you will be astonished at how many wonderful things will show themselves to you. There's a story Jerry used to tell about acres of diamonds. The story was that it was all right there in the backyard all along. Jerry said he used to use an expression, bloom where you are. And there are a lot of people that catch little snatches of that, but we want to give you the universal law basis for all of this. And what it is you are an emitter of a vibration that you have control over. But you, like almost everybody else you know, are doing a terrible job of controlling your vibrational emitting. You're letting what you're observing be your reason for it, you see. And in this chaotic environment where you are receiving so much feedback on so many different subjects at so many different vibrational levels so rapidly, most of you are in a sort of vibrational chaos. And most are creating by default. Most are having knee-jerk reactions to what they're observing and then complaining about what comes back in response. And when you get hold of it, when you realize that you can feel the way you want to feel even there at work, and so once you start taking control of what you're doing vibrationally, and you start then noticing the results of having taken that control, you never want to go back again. And then you catch yourself in the earlier subtle stages of constructing something unwanted. You can control the way you feel regardless of whatever the current situation is. Whatever the current situation is, you can control the way you feel. Maybe not this red hot minute. You might have to write some scathing emails first. In other words, we're not saying that you can do it this red hot minute, but ultimately what it comes down to is you have a choice. You can control the way you feel. And if we were standing in any of your physical shoes, we would not put up with negative emotion, not even for a little bit. And we would not ask one other person to do one other thing differently in order to try to support the way I feel. Because if the way I feel is dependent upon what a friend does, or what a neighbor does, or what a job does, or what an employer does, or what a friend does, or what a child does, or what a partner in a relationship does, if your happiness is dependent upon what one other person does, be very afraid. Because you cannot control what anyone else does, but you can control the direction of your thought. And so let us just say it to you softly. You may not be able to control it this red hot minute because you've got vibrational things going on, and law of attraction's bringing you more stuff like it, but you can eventually control it. You can eventually feel better. You can eventually get control of your vibration. You can eventually raise your vibration. You can eventually allow the vortex to bring you in. You can eventually do it. If not this red hot minute, you can eventually do it. And once you show yourself that you can feel better, and once you then see what feeling better yields to you in terms of manifestation, you say, I don't care how long it takes, because I wasn't waiting for the manifestation in order to have a response to the manifestation. I've learned how to feel good pre-manifestation. I've learned how to feel good right now. So the manifestation is irrelevant. How I feel is the only thing that is relevant, you see. And I got control over that. Getting more control every day. Getting better at it every day. Because I want to feel good. I want to feel good. Everything that I do, everything that I want, whether it's a material object, a state of being, a pile of money, a relationship, an enterprise, an empire, every single thing I want, no matter what it is, I want because I think I will feel better in the having of it. And we say, you can just turn one little thing. I don't have to have the manifestation of it to feel better. I can feel better now. I can feel better now. Because what's keeping me from feeling better is an opinion that doesn't square with the opinion of the source within me. If I feel unworthy, I'm always going to be out of sync with my inner being. If I think I can't do that, or I shouldn't do that, or somebody's better at that, every thought that you think, the emotion that you feel, is your indicator of how it squares with who you really are is, and what you really are knows, you see. So if you say, oh, I get this. I can feel my way into vibrational compliance with the successful source within me. I can feel my way into compliance. And we promise you, if you feel your way into vortexual compliance, the entire universe will comply with you and your desire. Time becomes irrelevant. The gap won't bother you because it's all fun. It's fun feeling better than I just did. It's fun getting clearer than I just was. It's fun knowing more than I just knew. It's fun rendezvousing with others who know it too. It's fun watching the manifestational, co-creational dance that's coming in response to my improved vibration. How fun it is to mold this vibrational clay. It's fun to mold the vibrational clay. The manifestation is not the main event. The molding of the clay and the energy in your belly is.